The African landscape is changing, driven by substantial investments in key infrastructure projects, improved access to electricity through renewable and energy projects, and a fast-growing information and communication technology sector. One of the goals of Aspiration 2 of Africa's Agenda 2063 is the development of world-class infrastructure that crisscrosses Africa and improves connectivity through modern high-impact initiatives that link the continent by rail, road, sea and air, developing regional and continental energy power pools, as well as advancing information and communication technology. The Department of Infrastructure and Energy leads the implementation of the Agenda 2063 projects aimed at promoting, coordinating, implementing and monitoring programs and policies on infrastructure development, transport, energy, information communications technology, as well as modernized postal services. Through the work of the department, the African Union has facilitated several geothermal energy projects and is developing frameworks to promote solar energy, hydropower schemes, and support development of renewable energy, as well as modernization of bioenergy and clean cooking technologies. The department has 3 divisions which implement the key mandates of the AU Commission in the infrastructure and energy sectors. Energy Division, Information Society, Transport and Tourism.
Why is this important? Especially when we talk about transport, the various types of transport and energy. There's a direct relation between infrastructure energy, or the availability of adequate transport systems and energy, and socioeconomic development. Areas or countries with low levels of access to adequate, reliable and modern infrastructure also record low levels of growth and high levels of poverty. This is not what we want. So we want to ensure that and give the opportunity for every other sector to work, for health to work well, for education to work well, for people to find jobs, especially our young people, for innovation to take place. And this will not happen without the adequate infrastructure. Of course, it has to be also reliable, and also it has to be affordable by all.
The Programme for Infrastructure Development in Africa is one of the continental frameworks of Agenda 2063 and the blueprint for infrastructure transformation of the continent for the period 2012 to 2040. It is a multi-sector programme covering transport, energy, transboundary water networks and telecommunications, and provides a common framework for African stakeholders to build the infrastructure necessary to boost trade, spark growth and create jobs. As a multi-sector programme, PIDA is dedicated to facilitating continental integration through improved regional infrastructure, and its implementation will help address the infrastructure deficit that severely hampers Africa's competitiveness in the world market, transform the way business is done, and help deliver a well-connected and prosperous Africa. The implementation of PIDA is expected to lead to reduced energy costs and increased access, with savings on electricity production costs of $30 billion a year, and increase in power access from 39% in 2009 to nearly 70% in 2040, providing access to an additional 800 million people. Reduced transport costs and boosting intra-African trade. Transport efficiency gains will be at least $172 billion in the African Regional Transport Integration Network. Promoting intra-African trade due to shift from overseas trade to trade between countries and within and across regions as envisioned in the AFCFTA. ensuring water and food security by enabling the water storage infrastructure needed by food production and trade. Increase global connectivity by boosting broadband connectivity by 20 percentage points. Increasing broadband penetration by 10% will increase GDP by strengthening connections between goods, services, and markets, and between people and jobs. PIDA is already having impacts across the continent, with 16,066 kilometres of highways built and 4,077 kilometres of railways laid. Energy transmission line capacity of approximately 3,506 kilometres added. Improved ICT connectivity, with 17 countries connected with regional fibre optic cables, and the creation of 112,900 jobs directly and 49,400 indirectly. In addition to the overarching PIDA strategy, the African Union is implementing several Agenda 2063 flagship projects aimed at accelerating Africa's infrastructure and energy requirements, namely the integrated high-speed train network, which will connect African cities and commercial centres and facilitate the movement of goods, factor services and people, reduce transport costs, as well as relieve congestion of current and future transport systems. The Grand Inga Dam project is expected to generate 43,200 megawatts of power and will transform Africa through increased use of modern sources of energy and ensure access to clean and affordable electricity. The Single African Air Transport Market, which aims to ensure intra-regional connectivity between African cities by creating a single unified air transport market in Africa.
We have 33 countries in Africa who signed the solemn commitment, and which means 800 million Africans who can now benefit from this great flagship project. It's the on the air transport, the Single African Air Transport Market, which aims at facilitating air transport by availing more frequent flights, lowering the prices, allowing liberties and freedoms between countries to use the airlines. Air transport is an important air transport means that is within our hands to do, in a faster manner than maybe other transport modes. Want to make sure that Africa, reaps the benefits of the fourth industrial revolution and help the continent leapfrog in a common and coordinated manner.
The Pan-African e-network, which aims to promote the use of transformative e-applications and services, making the information revolution the basis for service delivery in the bio and nanotechnology industries, and ultimately transform Africa into an e-society. And cyber security, which aims to promote the safe use of emerging technologies by ensuring data protection and safety online.
We cannot talk about integration if we are not physically integrated. Physically integrated is systematically you have to pass through the infrastructure integration. And one of the most cheaper today mode of transport is railway. So if you want to, for example, to produce any subject in Ethiopia and you wanted to sell it, for example, in Morocco, if you are really keen about the cost of transportation, maybe it will be easier for Morocco to buy from you, to invest in infrastructure. You will create jobs, you will have economic growth, but in an inclusive manner. And our aim here within this high-speed train network is really to interlink also our rural communities.
One of the other key projects of the department is .Africa, which is the geographic top-level domain for the people and continent of Africa. The mission to create Africa's very own online identity began as far back as the OR Tambo and Abuja declarations of the 1990s, where it was resolved to use ICT to ensure the development of Africa. The .Africa domain name affords individuals, governments, companies, and others the opportunity to associate their products, services, and information with the continent and people of Africa.
.Africa is one of the most important digital ID for the continent. As you may see, in this digital era, in digital world, if you don't have your own identity, you will be identity of somebody else. Hence, back in 2000, some African experts were trying to defend against some of the international agents who were trying to hijack .Africa. They stopped it, and they reached out the African Union in early 2008, and the African Union started then to take over. Since the domain name .Africa is a geographical name, it reflects the identity of all Africans. It belongs to Africans and should not belong to anyone else. The application process took a long time. We applied first time in 2011, and the delegation of the .Africa to the African Union has been done only in 2017, and following few other administrative matter and legal matter, it's really now up and running. And so far we have over 20,000 names that are being actually operated in Africa.
The Department of Infrastructure and Energy also works with several key continental organizations to implement sectoral programs, including the African Civil Aviation Commission, the African Airlines Association, African Telecommunications Union, Pan-African Postal Union, African Energy Commission, African Commission on Nuclear Energy. Find out more about Agenda 2063 and the work of the African Union in promoting infrastructure and energy development by visiting www.au.int.